South of Paris, in the quiet outskirts where fields give way to concrete, lies a fortress built to resist time, resistance, and human ingenuity. From a distance, it might resemble any other large institutional complex, but step closer, and the difference is undeniable. This is not a school. This is not a factory. This is a prison. And not just any prison. It is one of the largest and most secure correctional facilities in all of France. Its perimeter stretches across a wide area, protected by towering fences, layers of barbed wire, and motion detectors. Watchtowers rise above the walls, their silhouettes visible against the sky. Cameras capture every corner, every passage, every blind spot that might otherwise tempt those within to test their fate. Inside, prisoners move according to strict schedules. Metal doors slam shut with mechanical precision. The echo of keys jingling from the belts of guards follows every step. To most inmates here, the thought of escape is pure fantasy. The architecture itself seems designed to crush that dream. Multiple gates, reinforced doors, long corridors, and armed units stationed at T-points. It is a fortress within a fortress, engineered for one purpose: containment. Yet among the hundreds of men housed here, one stands apart. His file does not simply mark him as dangerous, it labels him the most guarded prisoner in France. His name, Ridwan Faïd. Prisoner 0010189. Faïd is not a man easily forgotten. To the guards, he is more than an inmate. He is a constant risk, a walking threat to security. His crimes span decades and include at least 30 armed robberies. His reputation extends beyond the criminal underworld, reaching into the consciousness of the general public. Newspapers call him the gangster who loved movies. To many officers, he is a living paradox, charming yet ruthless, intelligent yet reckless, a man who claims to despise violence yet surrounds himself with it. On his prison uniform, he carries a number, 0010189. But behind this number lies a mind that never stops plotting. During a routine search, guards discover something odd, a simple packet of chewing gum. At first, it seems trivial, but here, inside this fortress, nothing is trivial. Every small object could conceal a tool, a message, or a plan. The gum is confiscated, examined, logged into reports. It is a reminder that with Faïd, the smallest clue could signal something far greater. Meanwhile, at a small airfield, while Faïd remains locked inside, far from the outside world, events begin to unfold elsewhere. At a modest airfield not too far from Paris, a man named Stéphane Bouy goes about his day. Bouy is a flight instructor, professional, disciplined, a man who has devoted years to aviation. His life is predictable in the best sense. Lessons with students, routine maintenance, and the hum of propellers marking the rhythm of his days. But on this particular day, two men arrive who will change the course of his life. They introduce themselves as Frédéric and Julien, claiming to be new students eager to learn the art of flight. Their demeanor is polite, almost casual. They ask questions about helicopters, about how quickly they can learn. But soon, their requests begin to take a strange turn. Instead of a standard training helicopter, they express interest in flying a Louetti II, a rare collector's model not intended for beginners. Bouy frowns. The Louetti II is not an aircraft he normally uses for teaching. It is old, delicate, a machine better suited for enthusiasts than students. Their insistence strikes him as odd. When he asks why, they dodge the question, offering vague answers. They persist, and eventually, they put down an offer for 500 euros in cash for just one flight. The money tempts him, but the unease remains. Something about the encounter feels wrong. Against his instincts, he agrees. Later, he will reflect on this moment as the beginning of his entrapment. Early signals of a larger plan. Back in the prison, Faid's phone calls grow increasingly suspicious. Each inmate has limited contact with the outside world, and all calls are monitored. Yet Faid's conversations are never straightforward. He uses coded language, slips of phrases that appear meaningless but suggest hidden intent. Guards note the patterns. Investigators wonder, is he speaking in code, sending instructions disguised as casual talk? Outside, Stefan Buy's worst fears come true. The men he had thought were eccentric students revealed their real intentions. They are no longer polite, they are threatening. Buy realizes he has been trapped in a scheme larger than himself. Refusal is no longer an option. The threats escalate quickly. They know where he lives. They mention his family. Buy understands. He is being forced into participation. He will not be teaching flight lessons. He will be a hostage, a pilot for a mission he cannot control. At the same time, Faid's older brother, unaware of the unfolding plot, goes about his life. He remains disconnected from the plan, innocent of the fact that his younger brother is orchestrating yet another escape, weaving together threads from both inside and outside the prison walls.
It is just after 11:30 a.m. on July 1st, 2018. Inside the maximum security prison south of Paris, life carries on as usual. Guards make their rounds. Inmates talk in the yard. Some are playing cards. Others lean against concrete walls, staring up at the sky. Suddenly, a sound begins to cut through the routine. At first, faint, a low hum, almost like distant machinery, but it grows louder, steadier, unmistakable, the rhythmic chopping of blades. A prison officer pauses, confused. Helicopters sometimes fly overhead, but they are never supposed to approach, and yet this one seems closer, too close. Within moments, the sound is deafening. Windows tremble, dust rises from the ground. Prisoners look up, shouting, pointing. Something extraordinary is happening. A helicopter is descending into the very heart of the prison. The impossible landing. The courtyard is small, enclosed by walls and crisscrossed with anti-helicopter cables. These steel wires are installed precisely to prevent such an event. No sane pilot would dare attempt a landing here, but this is no ordinary day. At the controls sits Stefan Bui, the instructor forced into this nightmare. His hands grip the stick, his face tense. The criminals in the back bark orders. Their plan leaves no room for hesitation. Bui maneuvers with precision, avoiding the cables, fighting the turbulence, bringing the craft down into the narrow courtyard. Dust and debris swirl into the air. Guards shout in disbelief. Inmates cheer and scream. The unthinkable is happening. A helicopter is landing inside one of the most secure prisons in France. The moment of escape. Doors burst open. 3 armed men leap out, carrying weapons and tools. They move with speed, cutting through locks and barriers using a thermal saw. Sparks fly. The noise of grinding metal echoes off the walls. Inside, Redouane Faid hears it. He knows his moment has arrived. His years of planning, his coded conversations, his manipulation of allies and pawns, all of it has led to this.
Guards scramble, but there is chaos everywhere. Protocols exist, but they were never designed for this. French prison regulations forbid guards from firing directly at a helicopter in flight. Too much risk of collateral damage. Fayed knows this. He has studied it. The system itself has become part of his plan. In just minutes, the barriers fall. His cell door opens. His accomplices rush him through the corridors, across the courtyard, and into the waiting helicopter. For a brief moment, he turns to the other prisoners watching. He raises his hand in a salute, a gesture of triumph, of defiance. Then he disappears into the cabin. The helicopter lifts, blades slicing the air. Inmates cheer. Guards stand frozen, powerless. Against all odds, Redouane Fayed has escaped. The aftermath inside the walls. The courtyard falls silent as the machine vanishes into the sky. Prisoners whisper, some in awe, others in disbelief. Guards call in emergency codes, their radios alive with frantic voices. The reality is clear. France's most notorious gangster has just pulled off a Hollywood-style escape right under their noses. Within minutes, the news spreads. Phones buzz in offices. Television stations break into programming. Headlines scream across screens. Redouane Fayed escapes in helicopter. The celebrity criminal. This is not the first time Fayed has captured the nation's attention. Years earlier, he had been involved in another spectacular escape attempt, and he was already infamous for his robberies. But this is something entirely different. To the public, he becomes both a villain and an anti-hero. Some are horrified that such a man could humiliate the justice system. Others, fascinated by his audacity, speak with him in a strange admiration. He is living proof that truth can be stranger than fiction. After all, Fayed himself once admitted in interviews that he modeled his crimes on movies. He wrote books about his life. He spoke openly about his love of cinema, of Hollywood thrillers. Now, he has turned his own story into the greatest thriller of them all. The shadow of a murder. But behind the legend lies blood. In 2010, during the attempted robbery of an armored cash truck, Fayed's gang opened fire on police. A young officer, Aurélie Fouquet, was killed. The nation mourned. The President of France awarded her the Medal of Honor posthumously. Her name became inseparable from Fayed's. For many in law enforcement, this was not a clever thief. This was a dangerous criminal, responsible for death. His escapes, no matter how spectacular, were not romantic, they were tragedies waiting to happen. The hunt begins. The helicopter lands in a nearby town, abandoned by the criminals. The machine is found later, burned, evidence destroyed. Fayed and his accomplices vanish. A massive manhunt begins. Police flood highways, roadblocks are set. Helicopters sweep the countryside. Special forces units are deployed. Every lead is chased, every tip investigated. The search extends beyond France. Interpol is alerted, borders are monitored. The escape has not only embarrassed the French justice system, it has shaken its credibility. How could the most secure prison be breached so easily? For weeks, Fayed remains a ghost. He leaves behind traces, sightings here and there, rumors of hideouts, but the man himself is elusive. He knows how to disappear. He has done it before. Life on the run. Fayed's time as a fugitive is marked by the same mix of caution and arrogance that defines his entire career. He moves between safe houses, relying on networks of friends, family, and criminal contacts. But hiding cannot last forever. For a man like Fayed, silence is unnatural. He is addicted to attention, to the drama of being pursued, and slowly, mistakes appear. Investigators track communications. They analyze patterns of movement. They pressure associates. Bit by bit, the noose tightens. The arrest. 3 months after the escape, in September 2018, the hunt comes to an end. Police storm an apartment in Khael, Faid's hometown. Inside, they find him hiding with relatives. This time, there is no Hollywood ending, no helicopter, no spectacular firefight, just the quiet collapse of a man who once defied the system. He is taken back into custody, placed under even stricter conditions. His new cell is solitary, reinforced, under 24-hour surveillance. He is forbidden from contact with other inmates. Guards monitor his every move. The sentence. In court, the verdict is clear. Redouane Faid is sentenced to 39 years in prison. The French justice system, humiliated once, vows never to give him another chance. His cell becomes his world. Concrete walls, steel doors. No escape, no glamour. For a man who once lived as if life were a movie, the silence is crushing. In interviews, he describes the feeling, being buried alive. Perhaps in some way, that is the final act of his story. A man who tried to live in cinema, trapped forever in the cold reality of prison.